tonight actually marks quite a special occasion. For the first time since this story has begun, and not just since this story began, since our story as players began. The first time we've sat down, not across screens or through distant calls, but side by side, in person, at a table, feeling the weight of dice rolled, the tension live in person.
Tension.
Oh no.
Yeah, this might be an absolute shit show.
We've got to whack the rating up to 18 plus for this.
Previously, on our adventure, if you've been following, the group took some vital steps towards shielding themselves from the many eyes that stalk them. The powerful amulets, rings, and other things crafted in secret. They are hoping to silence the reach of divination, at least for now. But their mission, far from over. We join them now as they head to pick up this protection and prepare to head to Lake Sith, a place of ancient stillness where a ceremony awaits Dante to allow him to finally bring his destructive fire under control. And for today's session at least, we begin now. So, you guys are heading out of the temple. Last time, we decided that Ichi and Dante put a little bit of a sneaky plan into action and have messed with the evidence that they collected for our mysterious magic student that is making them their magical items. And also then plan to not be there and have Volu and Eleni, unbeknownst to the changes, make the drop. So I imagine that you're all heading over towards the Twisted Mangrove together, or are you going to not literally separate from the get-go? Let me know what's going on.
So, we're not all in the room together at the moment, are we?
We ended as you came back to the room. So we've jumped forward a little bit. You guys have got ready. You're going to pick up the stuff, and then you'll be ready to leave.
So, Dante is going to, before heading off, or before we're actually leaving our bedroom or whatever we're doing, he's going to go find someone in the temple, just anyone, just someone who's been kind of being like, and I'm going to just approach him. Preferably a cleric who actually is doing the healing and knows who I am.
Yeah. So there's a few of them that recognise you now.
You, come here.
Yes, are you planning to heal some more of our infected?
Yes, I am. I believe my comrades are going to be leaving soon. As you see us leave, I would like you to run over and call me over to you. And to say that I need the help, that you need me for something. That's all I need you to do. Do you have that?
Give me a quick persuasion.
Dirty 20.
Okay. Did you look a little confused? Yeah, I suppose I can do that.
Good.
Okay. Anything anybody else wants to set up before you actually leave?
Eleni would probably want to make sure that she knows who she's going to be speaking to. Like, what does he look like? Have we got a name?
We haven't told
you.
We haven't told you that you're going to do it.
I'm assuming that you told me that.
We're jumping that.
Oh,
yeah.
We're doing a bit forward because otherwise we could spend a few hours here in the temple still chatting. And
Okay,
seems a waste of the session.
Cool, okay.
So if we're ready to go, then I know that we're going to go and have the conversation, but it was that. So who are we talking to again? Like, what does this guy look like? I mean, have you agreed to meet him at a certain place, or?
Always been sending.
Oh, okay.
I've been the one sending. I've not seen. Well, I have seen him actually because when we agreed to meet, we saw him, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were with Dante originally when you encountered him.
Yeah.
We all were.
No.
Originally it was me. It was me
and then you were all in the Twisted Mangrove together.
And they know him as the muscle.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it was just like, do we know where we're meeting, who we're meeting, who he is?
Did we actually agree on a meet place?
I'm assuming this is all going to be part of the fast forward.
Well, you haven't agreed a meet place yet. You just need to tell him where to meet him. He told you the rings and the amulets are ready. The other things are going to take time.
Yeah.
You haven't actually said, cool, pick up one or the other yet.
Oh, no, I didn't apply.
Yeah, so we're all okay. Yeah, so we're all okay to pick that clear. And if we're doing that, then I would have sent a message going, we're okay to pick up the rings now. We can discuss why the finer details of why the sword isn't ready in person. We have the pages.
Okay.
And they would reply saying, oh, okay, good. I can meet you in the Twisted Mangrove in about an hour.
Okay. So we know how to get in there now, so
Yeah, we did.
we can head over that way. It'll probably take us about an hour to get there anyway.
Mm-hmm. And as you are leaving, that same cleric does sort of run out and Dante, we have somebody who is infected that is maybe close to turning. We need maybe to fight back that infection a little bit, please.
I'll catch you guys up.
Okay. Cool.
Leaving you as the rest of the three. Are you going to go in and actually do some healing and stuff?
I'll do it for about, say, maybe like 15 minutes, and then I'm good, or maybe 20 minutes. Give them enough time to sort off, and then I'll join.
Okay. Anything you guys want to do on the way, or are you just heading straight there?
Thinking of this, would it be better if I went with them?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
You three.
You're just not.
Okay,
I'm
you're staying
not.
behind.
Yeah, but
Okay,
you're not going to go into the meat.
No,
I just do what you did last time.
I'm going to be muscle on the outside.
Because the question here would be like, we're dealing with him. He's here. Why are you now with these guys?
Yeah.
So
For a brief moment, I was like, wait, am I staying with you or am I going with them?
No. It's me not being here.
Yeah,
And these guys don't know what we've given.
I'm the one face of familiarity of this all. Be like, oh yeah, you're all together. That guy's
And
there.
plus, they know you guys as the
And
chaos gamers.
they did see the Soul Volu with you the first time you interacted. So there's some familiarity.
Yeah,
Nice.
and then they know you guys are chaotic gamers. They don't necessarily know me as part of the chaotic gamers
Mhm.
because I've had a bit of a shape change.
That's true. Okay. So yeah, I think we would just go straight there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was
With this time having like kind of prepped, I will have. Obviously, we have Rufus.
You do have Rufus.
We also have my summoned steed, which is, I believe, still in Mastiff kind of like form.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring the Mastiff with us. Leave Rufus with you.
Oh,
I hate
sorry.
I hate it. Mainly just because obviously I have a telepathic connection with mine, so I can obviously be like, go get Dante with him.
Oh, okay.
So like, if need be.
Okay. I'm going to give him a sausage.
What, Rufus?
Yes. And I'm going to have two for me.
That is the correct procedure.
I learned. See? Really simple thing.
Look, I followed the rule, just a delayed aspect, and it would have been fine if someone else hadn't have stolen
No, he didn't have full.
a few sausages.
30 sausages.
Look, I promise. I just need 5 more weeks. I'm good for it. I promise.
Okay, so yeah, easily done. Able to leave those things in place, and fairly easily. The city's felt very quiet. You're able to head over, and now knowing the passphrase and the way in, it's a lot less of a. It was Maritza gave birth to Aylar Moonshadow.
I just wondered if you remember because it sounded like he skipped over it.
The passphrase.
I remember everything. So you are able to enter in again. It is the same. It doesn't seem to matter what time you arrive into the Twisted Mangrove. There is always a drum of students and other people doing the silly shots. Today you can actually see that one of the shots on offer seems to let people leave like handprints glowing in the air. So you'll see that they like touch in the air for a second and it leaves an outline handprint sort of floating. And
Do I have a? I'm saying like thing. I think I have a glass bottle on me. Can I order a couple of shots and put that in a glass bottle?
I mean, all together or just
That specific one.
yeah.
Two of the same.
I'd say you could get 2 doses of. So yeah, basically it almost makes your fingerprints glow, and it's almost like traced in the air with magic.
Cool. I shall do that.
And I'd say that you probably would have got there a little bit after the hour, and you can see that already prepped in a booth. You can see your man, who's still a name you've never actually gathered. Man that helped Moonshadow Jr.
That guy.
What's Moonshadow Junior's real name?
Talking.
Orkin.
Yeah, don't. I'm prepped today, son.
Liam knew he was going to be in your house. And
I've played in person with you before.
You are in my domain.
And still everybody
What is
ignores
his
it.
name?
Lair action, just psychic damage to you now.
Yeah. And immediately upon seeing you, doesn't like wave, but sort of like looks knowingly towards Ichi. There's definitely a little confused look of like, not the person that asked me for the thing, but would see these two following. And would motion for you to join.
Okay. Head over there if I'm leading on this.
Yeah,
Am
yeah.
I leading on this?
We're walking together.
Okay, so you're my muscle?
Kind of.
Yeah.
The biggest one is apparently not the muscle of this group. I love it.
And I
Size
was.
doesn't always mean
Oh, you got that right.
Emily's seeing some Quoric energy there.
I would walk over, sit down opposite this bloke, and just say, hello, who am I dealing with?
You look a little confused, and sort of like look to Bowling. You've not discussed with your partners.
I just wondered what your name was.
Well, I suppose for now, you can call me Magic Ring. Seems suitable. I'd rather you not know who I actually am.
Fair enough.
And for the same for you, it appears. Your friend did not feel like joining us today. They do glance over towards the muscle.
He had other
What
pressing
muscle?
matters.
The muscle.
The love muscle.
You need to drop that.
Yeah, that needs to end immediately.
Secret passion.
No.
Rather just refer to me as a penis, you know?
Well, what you eat?
Oh, mic drop, walk away. Fair. Damn. You got me.
It's descending into madness a lot quicker.
I was going to say, how many minutes?
I was going to say, no, we're doing better than we.
I would
15 minutes to throw it back.
I would say, yeah, he had more pressing matters. I've come in his place.
Okay. More talking to, I think they probably would, not in purpose, but just sort of, they know Volu knows what they're talking about.
Yeah.
So they would sort of to Volu say, you said you have them?
Yeah, I've got the pages. I've got them in.
And they will also, good. And they pull up a sort of little like, backpack style pouch up onto, almost like a side bag, up onto it and unfold and sort of push it over towards you for you to take a look at.
Okay.
And how do we know that these work?
Well, I want to open up the backpack. I want to cast Detect Magic on the items to see if they are glowing, so at least we know if they're
Yeah, so
magic or not.
you do pick up, so you as you open the bag, you see a necklace, a bracelet, and 3 rings.
Okay.
Hey Lenny, give me an investigation. She's sort of looking over. First off, they glow. They glow abjuration. Which is the
Abjuration,
right,
which is what we'd
which is what you
expect.
would expect from something that protects against.
Okay.
So it has the right look to it.
That's a 19 investigation.
Okay. At least some of these items belong to somebody else. You're 90% sure.
Okay.
Whether through purchase or other such things, there's almost like on one of the rings, there's like an initial engraving on the inside that would give more of a personal item touch than just a mass produced.
Can I take that ring and sort of hold it and have a look at it and go, interesting. Do we know this person?
No, and they shouldn't miss it.
I'm going to glance at Volume. So there was another matter that you haven't been able to help us with.
Yes. I have found some potential. It is not like these, you see. These can be acquired. But the other sword is specialty. It depends. I can find something a lot easier, but doing what your friend wanted and having something that is disguised and protected but easily at hand might take me a few weeks.
with the nature of seeing some of these may have been procured through various methods, at that point...
Some of them are definitely created.
Oh, yeah.
One or two of them are definitely created. But also, some of them have definitely been. And it might have been that he's legitimately gone and been like, I'll pay you, I'll give you whatever it is, because clearly he wants the pages.
But he's just told us they won't miss.
Yeah.
That's what the shouldn't.
With the idea of EG being the muscle and everything, is going to take a step back, hand over the shield, and I'm going to cast See Invisibility, just so for the next hour I've got eyes on everything, whether it can be seen or not.
Okay.
I suppose I'm going to say, so if we decided that we were going to deal with our other problem another way, without your help, does that mean we get a refund?
I mean, well, you haven't technically finished paying yet. The deposit is the deposit.
True.
We haven't paid anything.
But do we pay less?
I mean, I suppose if you do not want me to continue looking into that problem, then yeah, you will pay less. If you want me to continue looking into the problem, we could come to an arrangement.
So, out of game. How much should we...
I was about to say, there was no deposit of that. This was a fixed fee of...
I couldn't remember, it was 500.
It was 500, that was it. It was
500 and the pages.
And the pages, yeah. So there was no
but that's it.
extra...
He sees the payments as payment, right?
Yeah.
That's value. Like, that's the payment, essentially. You haven't really paid it.
No, that's fine. I think there was a discussion last week about should we still pay the full amount if we're not getting everything that we're asking for.
Yeah.
For sure.
Or do we still get this person to look into a sword and then we've got another solution in a couple of weeks?
The question is how much do we want to be dealing with this individual? Bearing in mind we're about to leave.
Yeah.
If it's going to take a couple of weeks, is that any worth to us?
I was going to say we probably need to have that conversation without him sat in front of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Eleni will just say, let's pay up. And you've got the pages.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping people would have given me a sum total of 500 gold.
I'm assuming we would have all chipped in.
Yeah, because I don't have a whole 500
Well, I
gold.
have 10 gold.
And I have 63.
Ichi steps forward and puts 500 down from their 700 and...
Thank you, Ichi. Okay.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, don't worry, I'll be coming to collect some money from you at some point.
And so I'll put the things back in the bag, gather them all together, and just say our business is concluded.
You would see that they very quickly scoop the pouch and drop it, like just next to them. And as it falls next to them, it just disappears.
And yeah.
You hear a thud. It gives you the impression invisible box over like...
Can he see that?
As you're looking, you can see a sliver of like it opened. So you're thinking more extra dimensional.
Okay, yeah.
So it's not necessarily just invisible. He almost had to open the hole, drop it.
Yeah, like cut a hole, popped it in, closed the hole. Yeah.
But it looked to you less like his magic and more like an...
Drop the pages or the...
Just the pouches.
Pouch.
The pages, he will wait for you to sort of pull them out and put them. You get the impression from your insight, he doesn't want this to look like a business transaction. Like putting 500 gold down straight on the table looks like a business transaction. So yes, him handing you a bag and you handing him some papers, you might be working on a project together.
Okay.
You know, like you did the research, I've procured the materials. You like that sort of exchange happens all the time.
Yeah.
He doesn't want it to look like you paid him for a service.
Okay.
So he sweeps that bit very quickly, and then we'll look and say, pages?
Yes, of course. And then I'll pull them out of my pocket and just hold them out.
He will take them. He does take a quick look, scans it very quickly. As he does, he is looking you over.
I'm just going to keep eye contact with the guy and watching him really carefully.
Perception.
Of course, again.
As he's looking
To
at
be
the
fair,
map,
I thought you weren't going to be there, if I was honest.
Yeah.
No, as in, I thought you were going to be further back at the
They haven't closed the boat. He hasn't fully closed.
There hasn't been any form of like, we're making this private, so Ichi's a part of this.
15.
Cool. 15. Deception was that?
Yeah.
So that is going to be 18.
Okay. They definitely give a look over and they sort of scan. And I think for the insight, you would see a change of like trying to hide pleasure, right? Like there's almost like, yes, I've got it. But they're trying not to show you, yes, I've got it, but they're also not that good.
Holding back giddiness, yeah.
But I am going to ask and just say, out of curiosity, I mean, this is interesting stuff, but what are you going to do with it?
They smirk. And it's for Volu, this is not like a evil smirk. This is like, imagine if you were a tech company and you walked up to the leader of another tech company and said, like, tell me how you prototypes work.
Yeah.
He smiles in a like, I'm not going to tell you that. Like, and just says, maybe you'll hear about it if I'm successful.
Well, good luck.
And to you.
And then I will stand up
And as you sort of go, Volo, as you're going to stand, they will say, where I cannot send him, as you do, where is best to leave a message should I procure the other?
You can always leave a message for us at the Rusty Bucket.
Thinking that.
It's a pleasure doing business with you all. And then they open it again, throw the pages in.
Yeah.
And then they don't pick anything up. They like stand and walk.
Okay.
And they go over to the bar. They order 2 or 3 rounds and start just sort of giving out to people.
Okay.
And being seen drinking and join a table. And you see them join one of the poker tables and play a few hands before they are slowly almost moving to the door via.
Yeah.
But they want to be seen having been enjoying themselves.
With the like watching of like seeing that extra kind of like pocket open and everything flow, anything on the fingers, any rings or anything that looks like this could be like forming this?
Nothing that's glowing invisibly, but from yours, he is wearing a decent amount of magic.
Yeah, okay. I mean, if no one wants to do anything other than grabbing a couple of drinks to take with us, I'm going to be heading for the exit.
Yeah, but business is done, and then we can start moving on, can't we?
As we get outside, though, I'm going to very quietly say to you two, some of this is definitely stolen goods. I'd like us to maybe be a bit careful going back. Can I cast Pass Without Trace on us? And can we just be very careful as we make
And I'm
our
going
way?
to pause you before you actually head back, as I'm going to flick back to
Okay.
Dante. You helped out for maybe 20 minutes. And then I assume you were intending to follow on behind.
Yes. I mean, I was strolling at a leisurely play.
As you exit, a house glass car pulls up. And an attendant steps out and, you were with the Chaotic Embers now, yes? Do you know where they are at the moment?
We've gone to the university.
Well, I'm here to deliver a message. Where is best to leave it? Again, this attendant does not know you as a Chaotic Embers
No.
member. They're like asking you for directions. Where should I leave this?
I can give it to them. I am on my way to see them.
Give me a perception. The distrust you see is not a, I think this guy's trying to screw me. It's like I've been ordered to put this in the hands of a, and you know Thaddeus is a bit picky, right? Like he knows that if Thaddeus finds out he gave it to someone else, he goes, I have strict instructions. Only a member of the Chaotic Embers or the High Priest Arcaner may take this.
You can either give it to Harkener or you can come with me to the Embers and you can drive me there.
Arcaner it is. They'll go in, and there's almost like a 2-minute pause before you look in, Dante, and Arcaner's like confusedly pointing back out to you on the stoop.
I'm just looking at him, just looking.
Well, they come back a bit confused. High Priest Arcaner says this is for you. Sorry, I did not know you were a member.
I'm now just opening it up. I'm just like...
They don't go anywhere just yet. They sort of stand to attention at the side. You open up the letter, and fairly hastily scrubs. It's not like formally written. It's like from Thaddeus. I talked to my sister, as you asked, in exchange for giving us more time to research on the vehicle. She believes she might have found a bag of holding. I know this is not exactly what you were looking for, but if you are amenable, please come by the workshop anytime. As you sort of finish, the attendant still sort of pause and will say, "Do you require a lift to the workshop, or might I be dismissed?"
You can give me the lift to pick up my colleagues, and then we can go to the workshop.
Like, and again, you think this is part of the instruction, right? Like, they've been told, go drop this off and then do whatever they want. Like, do what they want unless they dismiss you. So they nod and get in the vehicle and we'll
Do you have
motion.
any chilled water?
No, that is for the customer vehicles only, I'm afraid. This is and again, this is like one of the buggy carts stripped down. This is for them to get around, sort of thing. But please do jump on in and maybe we can stop for some if you like.
That sounds pleasurable.
Okay. So there is like almost the stop for water is like it means you're about the same pace as if you walk.
That's why I deliberately did it, because there was no point in me catching them up.
Yeah, exactly. And you manage to hold that same sort of pacing. And I would say that you would probably arrive to the gardens where the Twisted Mangrove is and not see any sign of them at this minute.
Then I would wait.
Okay. They were sort of just waiting here.
What is your name?
Eric.
Good name.
Thank you. And you do just wait. And after maybe only another 2, 3, 5 minutes tops, you would see, first of all, the person that you were looking for exit out of the mangrove, and almost immediately, like they land, disguise, invisible, and start moving. Like almost one after another. And just start walking. And you are able just to watch them go, because obviously you saw them change. But again, it is like...
You said he went invisible.
Well, sorry, but you would have seen the start of the movement, as they start to move and then they disappear. Into what I mean is, if you were watching the tree, that change was obvious. If you weren't,
I was watching the tree.
Yeah.
I was just watching it.
And then after maybe 30 seconds more, up in the group, and you would see them sort of huddle and start having the discussion that you are currently having about Pass Without Trace.
So, do we see the buggy?
I'd say that your passive is probably a bit good enough to pick it up.
Right. So I'll be
Because
halfway
they're
through.
a little bit away. I assume you're not like by the tree. Yeah.
So I'll be halfway through the whole. Do you think maybe we should be really stealthy as we go back to the tent? And then I'm going to catch the flaming hair and the. Looks like we don't need to worry about getting back to the temple, and I'll just head straight.
Yeah, this is Eric. He told me about his life. He has a husband and 3 kids.
Is Eric surprised by this
They
information?
look very surprised. They don't argue. They look very surprised.
Nice to meet you, Eric.
And you.
We are to go to Thaddeus. He's got us a bag of holding.
Oh, that's perfect.
That's perfect, actually. Yeah.
And maybe we should then start making tracks.
Agreed. Do we all have everything we need? You've got woofers with us.
Yes, do you have everything we need?
Swords prominently on the back.
Before we get in the buggy, I will show you what we've got and dish out one to each.
I realised earlier I
yeah.
said 3 rings. I meant 2 rings.
Uh-huh.
Because originally you asked for 5 things, and obviously I realised it was a change.
I was wondering if, say, that was
No.
either a mistake or a deliberate thing, but I was just like, you've said that.
Yeah,
Just
no.
carry on.
I'll wreck on that one.
So I'm going to keep the bracelet for myself,
Yeah.
and then let you guys choose between the
Necklace and
amulet
the 2 rings.
I already wear an amulet, so I'll take one of the rings.
I already wear an amulet.
So you've got the necklace. Yeah.
Nice. So it is going to take an hour,
Mhm.
obviously, to attune to them. But in the meantime,
Are they just standard protection
proof
against
against detection. So it's proof against detection,
I believe so.
Is the amulet. Pop yourself an amulet on, and then
Yeah.
name it relevantly. And you would be able to begin making your way through the city.
Amulet of proof against detection and location.
Oh, it's already in there.
Ah.
I don't know where to find this.
It is just,
It's just standard in the magic line.
Yeah.
So just add to your
Yeah,
inventory.
but where's my
Go to inventory.
inventory.
inventory? That was what I was looking for. Thank you.
And then you can change the name, bracelet. Of
Customize.
You can carry on, mate.
So you would make it with where the school is and such. It maybe takes 30, 40 minutes for you to get up all the way into the Zenith Ward.
Can I just do a quick scan around and see if anybody's following us?
Yes, you can. And with your,
I would also be doing that as well with
perceptions.
Or
I say dirty 20 for eachy.
that is a 6 for me.
is that everybody, Liam?
If you want to be on the lookout while you're heading towards the center.
That is a 7 again.
Sorry, I'm still getting my head around this.
That means I'm waiting. I don't
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, that means you probably
26.
You then need to go to
know. I need to attune to it.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out where things are.
in this section. I'm not sure.
Okay, so I think
These things.
So wait, 6, 7,
26 and Ichi was a 16, 17.
Yeah, Ichi, what did you get?
Dirty 20.
That's 20. So I'd say that Ichi and Eleni,
Mm-hmm.
you would definitely keep an eye out, not noticing anybody following you. And you're not seeing any signs of invisible or any other sort of thing that would give you that feeling. And also, notably, so if you remember, cast your mind all the way back those months ago to when we first entered the city and the festival was in full swing, you were seeing protection
Oh, yeah.
Floating orbs everywhere.
around. They are not as present.
Oh, okay.
You're catching the occasional one,
Yep.
and it is that vibe of the clearly upped security for the festival.
Yeah.
This city definitely still has some magical orbs floating around, scrying on things, but it's not to the level it was when the festival was in full swing.
Okay.
So rather than the constant movement, there's the occasional, like, oh yeah, there's one over there still, and
Yeah.
there's maybe an invisible familiar over there.
Mm.
People are still watching. It
Yeah.
maybe isn't quite the mass scale. But eventually we'll be able to make it to Thaddeus' workshop and being with a Glass Cloud employee that just passed straight through, and they just begin taking you round to the workshop at the back.
I'm assuming the car that we have been using is just still at the temple.
Yes. Yeah. Upon arriving, Thaddeus would almost straight away see you, and again, there's still the hum of researchers and other tech people currently like buzzing over your car, over the Chaotic Embers vehicle to try and figure out how and why and all those other such things. And definitely he comes out towards you and is you got my message then. So yes, my sister has found you a bag of holding. She does have some, I suppose it's a negotiation, she would say. She's asking for a set amount of time. She would like 2 weeks with the vehicle. In return, you can have the bag of holding.
Can we have the bag of holding first, and then we leave the vehicle with you for?
Yes, as long as we are. There will be papers to sign. She likes things in legal agreements, as you can imagine.
Sounds alright to me.
She does not want you coming back in a week saying you need it and etc. Not that I think you would do that, but she is more suspicious than I.
Well, we're possibly
Scratches
going
our
to
plan,
be,
come back in a week to see if we need the car.
well, we're possibly going to be leaving the city for a few days anyway. So
Well, it was about a week's journey, wasn't it? So that'll be
Yeah,
around
so
2 weeks by the time
2
we
weeks
get back.
total.
And then there's whatever you do in the middle.
So if anything, perfect.
As is about the same time for the sword thing. Have we practiced me with the sword? Because you.
No, not yet. Not yet.
Well,
we
we're
have
going to then, aren't we?
we have it set up so that we can do I think the plan was get all this done, do that tonight
in the magic circle.
in the magic
I thought
circle.
we were heading off now.
I thought we
It's
would.
up to you.
Yeah, I thought we were going to do that and then head off, just so we know worst case scenario, we
I think
get
we need to tell Anthony
halfway
we're
there.
going.
Oh yeah. We definitely need to go back to the temple to let
Can't
them
just
know.
And it
disappear.
depends how what you want to test. Right?
Yeah.
Like, is it just holding it? Is it having it out? Like, what's the test?
Yeah.
We know that they can't scry on an object. We know that we can't be scryed upon.
Mhm.
So
It's the irony of items that have been stolen are being things that they can't be tracked. It's like,
That's why he's like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna miss it.
yeah, you know.
You literally couldn't find that ring if you wanted to. Honestly, I love it. One thing I will say, so something that Dante had already asked me as the GM, you don't know if he can be scribed on.
yeah, no, I
Inside.
already had that in my head.
Okay. So yeah, I think we head back to the temple.
So
Speak to
there's
Anthony and then-
maybe half an hour of some papers are
I was going to
provided.
say, yeah.
some
We
signing.
signed some papers.
Once the papers are signed, they do hand you a fairly simple. It's like it's definitely made to look like a magic item. It's like a wizard's bag. It's like
Yeah.
purple and silver swirls, and none of it part of the actual need for the magic. But hey ho, that's what it is. It's like almost like a bright purple with silver like weave symbols moving through it. It is yours to take. We have already checked it. It is empty. It is clean. You do not have to hide it. It is donated to us by a wealthy family that no longer need it.
Who wants to carry it?
Each you can carry it. Straight away we open
I
it.
was just going to say, maybe.
Let's get that sword in.
Mm-hmm.
So because it's to do with dimensions.
Well, so interestingly, as I was looking at this, it's about the cubic footage, which is hard for us to work out.
If only we had a math teacher in on it.
The issue isn't the math. The issue is I don't know the actual dimensions of a box for a greatsword.
But it's only the great sword, isn't it? What we're putting in the
Well,
other box
are
as
you?
well?
Are you?
That's
Are you
yeah.
So if you to put in the greatsword in, that should fit.
Oh wait,
Thaddeus,
Yes.
we need you to melt down some lead for us.
Mm-hmm. Well remembered.
Any particular reason?
It's being tracked. We need it to be melted down.
Let's just show him the box. Let's just show him.
I mean it's on your back.
Well, no, I just took it off the back and given it to you guys.
Okay, well, you know this giant box we just put into it. Well, we just need a.
Well, so this I don't think I don't know. Literally, this is saying estimating cubic feet is tricky without the specific dimensions. If it's roughly a 4 to 6 feet long sword, it is probably in the area of 0.5 cubic feet, which is nothing.
I mean, yeah, that's the volume that it can hold total.
What's the-
In terms of its diameter of mouth, it's 2 feet in diameter.
massive.
Massive. Like the mouth opens up.
Yeah. So, yeah, you could probably fit the whole box in.
Okay.
Like
We
people fit bodies in these things, you know.
Yeah.
The thing I always think with bodies is they can be sort of bent
But
and
again,
manipulated.
Yeah.
I don't think we want the sword in the box because he wants to be able to literally draw the sword and use it. potentially.
Yeah, which is like putting the box in is going to be action to get box out,
And the
action
fact
to
that
open
Yeah.
the
the
box.
box is being tracked.
Yeah. Which also, you know, like we could have some fun with that in terms of like get the lead out, get that all melted down, send the box on a journey in the exact opposite direction we're going. Make them play a real game of like goose chase.
Let's do that.
Okay, so you're taking the sword out.
Yeah.
May I touch the sword?
Well, no, I was
Well, no,
He's
it's
saying no.
outside of the
Oh no, yeah. We're waiting for the circle. Waiting for the circle, Dante.
Cool. That's what I was asking.
Yo.
Mm.
Oh god, the moment I touch this sword.
Maybe a perception.
15.
Okay, 21.
Okay. Not the moment you touched it. The moment it left the vicinity of the box,
Mhm.
an orb appeared in the corner.
Oh, okay.
And then it disappears into the back.
And then the orb goes.
The orb sits around for like a minute. And then goes.
Ichi does that like in the bag, closes it, eye contact. Asserts dominance.
Well, the thing is, you've got to remember is if you've got no detections, you can't see you.
Oh yeah, it can't see. Oh, so it just suddenly saw a sword.
But it
suddenly
can see
appear and go.
Thaddeus.
And it can see a sword. Well, if it can see the sword, it saw a floating sword go into nothing.
But it also would have seen the workshop. It would have seen Thaddeus. It would have seen.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Cool. So we've just
Turn to Thaddeus.
we've just
You're in
killed.
danger.
Yeah, we've just killed Haskell's. Wonderful.
I didn't take the sword out of the box in a non-protected area. that was you.
That's right.
However, you have now confirmed
Mm-hmm.
that it can be scribed.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
So it must be acting at least a little bit like a person. And if you know how scry works, it's about resistance of the person. So he must be giving in to that scry.
Well, doesn't necessarily have to mean that.
Can we forcibly put one of the rings of non-detection onto him? Just get me in the sword and be like, look, buddy, just put this on.
Can we take the bracelet and like meld it onto
into it?
the handle?
Fortunately,
Yeah, it'll break the enchantment, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Really annoying.
We need to get out.
I mean, we don't know yet.
That also really makes me anxious about ever giving this sword to you to use.
Mm-hmm. I know.
the only benefit you have is that in the magic circle, magic can't pass.
Yeah, but we can't afford to put a magic circle down every time we're fighting.
No, but in terms of testing...
In terms of testing
It
later,
only take 10 minutes.
So right now, hang on. So right now, in the bag, it's safe. Right, it's not being scribed on. It's in the bag.
Yeah.
We're saying that when Ganty takes it out of the bag to use it, anyone can then scry on it, even though they can't see him.
So it must be scrying.
Also, the fact that it came on like that.
There was seconds, but yes, there must be somebody sat. And again, you know that it can't be. They cannot have the spell power to be like ping, 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 ping.
I think then it has
However,
to stay
what
in the
you
bag.
know, when you were reading about the fire plane, masters always know when they're saying it's a third.
Oh.
telepathic
So
connection.
he, like, if you imagine that they have a connection while he's in the in the lead box, that connection's gone. I can't feel Tenebrese. The
Tenebrese
second
came back for a
Tenebrese
moment.
is there, he hears him in his head going, "Fucking, I'm out. Help me." Scribe now.
Yeah. Damn.
They know when their people
So it
are
has
being
to
fucked
stay
with,
in the bag until we find another way of
or
handling
until
it.
you negotiate.
Or until we negotiate.
Do you attune to this sword?
No.
Okay, so it's not even like if we give it to you in a magic circle for an hour, attune to it, it then gets overcome with the detection magic. Like it's just.
I don't think the detection magic works that way though.
Well, it's the whole thing of like the clothes that we're wearing, the weapons that we're wearing at the moment. Otherwise, they like
Yeah. It must be.
it has to extend to things on your
Otherwise,
person.
you'd be clothes walking
Yeah.
around and bags.
You know,
So
would,
can he hold it while it's in the bag and attune to it while it's in the
it's
bag?
not genius.
it's not true. That's the thing. But
It's
because,
the fact that it's another.
However,
technically,
again,
because
clothes
it's-
aren't attuned.
no, but I think the what's causing issue here is because it's technically a sentient weapon.
But I also
That's possibly the other thing.
think
It's also
well, yeah,
like
you can't
he could
scry
just.
objects, technically.
Yeah.
He's just going yo 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 yo. It's like he can't
I
stop
also
that.
think, and I think thinking about the magic,
Yeah.
I think there's a difference of you could probably wear it. Any of you could wear the sword and it would be covered. Having it out is then a different matter.
And at that point, at that
Also,
point,
yeah.
it's taking up space that a different sword could take up, and
I know. It's annoying.
it is annoying.
Because I want the sword.
Yeah.
Like it's something
And
that
then you're gonna have to figure out how to negotiate with the free.
Yeah.
And right now,
Because also the other thing I will remind you is that's his sword.
Yeah.
So
Right.
even if you want it, he fucking wants it. It's been his for 3,000 years. It's only been in your body for 300. As far as he's concerned, you have no right to his fucking sword.
Oh no, I'm aware of that.
So again, there's that level of he doesn't even want you to be able to use it.
Yeah.
Right now, anyway. There's no deal, no negotiation.
Look, at least it takes up less space.
Yeah.
And we're not going to have to carry it around in that box.
Well, we're going. So we're not going anywhere tonight now. As we said, we're going to go do the magic circle.
Well, it's not that late, is it?
I mean, yeah, we
Yeah,
can do
it's
the magic
Thursday
circle
morning.
and
Next
then
morning.
leave.
So I've
So that we
got.
go see Arcanel. I'd like to say goodbye to her, at least let her know
Yeah.
we're going to be out of the city. And then I think that
We
we
can
just
give you
make our way.
We could give you a little test ride in the circle because things can't be scried on in the circle.
In the circle.
The amount of times that I
Shadows.
said, you know, just to see what the hell happens there. Because we never know. It might be when you gain full control of this sword, you start reverting back. At which case, we then fully cross off, right, giving you this sword isn't even an option for safety reasons.
I agree. You will be with us.
Certainly. I'm not leaving you. I promise.
I appreciate
I'm not going through all of this, all the years that I've been tracking you, losing my fucking mentor, to then go, on your own now, buddy. No. Long haul, buddy. I'm here for a while.
Just his big. I say big. I don't even know if you say how a.
Dante is tall.
Yeah, I know Dante's taller, but like what am I gonna ask?
I always think he probably does have big hands.
Ganassi are fairly.
Because he's got big feet, yeah.
So like my kind of I guess burny, smoky skin. I guess.
Yeah.
I appreciate you.
And I you. It's also why I don't want you to start setting things on fire again. I saw what that did to your own mental health. It wasn't good.
I was doing my best to get used to this.
I know.
Look, I can do something now.
Burning hands goes off.
No, I was going to say nothing goes off.
You'll get there. You'll get there.
And then
Produce flame.
maybe it's not going to work.
Yeah, so
puts hands in pocket.
so yeah, produce flame comes up. Shit.
Not in the building.
Shall we perhaps do what I suggested and get out of here, seeing as somebody has scried in this place?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thaddeus, have more security in here for the next week.
Okay.
2 weeks.
Okay.
Hmm.
So we're going to head back to the temple.
Yeah. We don't need to role play through it if you don't want, but just
I mean,
wanted to tell Mark and how we were going.
Eric.
Eric's left. Thaddeus will look and be like, I mean, if you need a driver, I can.
No, we can walk. Especially after that. We're
They've
walking.
given us the car already.
Well, no, they
No.
left. The one you've lent is still at the temple.
Yeah.
Because the attendant Eric came and picked you up.
No,
It's-
no, I get that, but he just tried to summon the guy that just drove us by clapping. That's rude. We're walking. Or no, by all means, you get home however you want. We're walking. Come on.
Yeah, I'll just look at you as you walk off. I'm like, are we going by car?
Dante.
No, we're not.
Thaddeus will look at Dante and say, seems like your boss has spoken, sir. And he'll sort of turn around and head back into the workshop.
Small in stature, but big in heart.
But yes.
Big in head.
Yeah, you know.
Well, what you don't know about Moon Nuns is their hearts in their head.
That's why they bloom.
But yes, you would very easily be able to make your way back over to the temple. You would see that it's fairly calm at the moment. With you having recently cleared off some people, they are mostly attending and making sure people are comfortable. High Priest Arcanair would be in the main sort of healing area. You would very easily be able to approach them.
Yeah, I would just head up and say, we're going to go on a little journey. We're going to be gone at least a week. Don't worry about us unless it gets past 2. But we'll try and send to you as well and let you know where we're up to.
If anything happens in the city, I will also let you know.
Hopefully we'll have an answer for some of this when we get back.
Is there anything anybody else wants to prepare before you go into the magic circle room? It is set up so it's a basic square room. There is still like a bed and stuff in there. There's, it's like set up as a bedroom. The magic circle basically touches the walls, but there are corners that are like outside the circle where you could stand and not be in the circle if you want to be in the room but not in the circle with Dante while he touches it.
Could we move the furniture?
Clear the furniture.
Yeah, let's
make
take
it
the
just
furniture
bare
out.
bones room.
Is there anything to make it? There's no windows or anything.
No windows, nothing like that. It's in a lot of these bedrooms are right. Like they only use them to sleep. Like it's not supposed to be like a functional room.
And just to say, I think I would obviously get the furniture out, but then Eleni probably would stand in one of the corners just outside. You probably have to go into the circle and out, don't you, to get into the corner?
Yeah.
But I would stand in one of the corners rather than being in the circle, because I know each of you want to be in there with him.
Easily done.
Dante will actually lean over to Volu and just go,
I could do with maybe a bit of support, possibly. Can you help guide me?
Oh, now that you've asked, yeah.
that was me asking.
It's just Ainlani and Ichi stood next to each other like, ooh.
So, cast guidance on me?
Yeah, I'll cast some guidance for you.
As we're obviously after clearing everything, Ichi's going to recast See Invisibility. Just make sure nothing is coming in around.
Currently watching.
Yeah.
Dante will just look at it.
You know this. You sure this will be fine?
It should be. Nothing should be able to come in or out. Nothing can scry on things within the circle. It's one of the reasons why you going in is a little bit of an issue. Because you're obviously part elemental now.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Yeah, forget that this will affect me now, won't it?
But that's okay. Something we'll work through.
Wonderful.
Think about things that you want to ask, if anything. Like, are you just going to use this to hold the sword, get a feel of it, and use it and see what happens? Or are you going to try and have a connection with him again?
I don't know what is best, and I don't really want to give
That's
him.
okay. Feel whatever is more right in the moment. Just remember, you are in control. There is no question of that. He, at any point, might try to make you believe he is still in control. You are your own person. This change is a literal sign of that. You have come through the other side. Fire didn't destroy you. It made you stronger.
Thank you. I needed that. Right.
Okay.
Realise guidance lasts a minute, so let's go.
Okay, you open up the bag. Slowly begin reaching in. Moment.
Guidance only lasts a minute.
No. And with an action, call forth mentally for the sword. As it rises up, you feel your fingers brush against the hilt of the sword, and a warmth pulses beneath your skin. Not heat enough to burn, but enough to remind you that it lives. Not the metal, but him. For a moment, as you take full grasp and begin to draw the sword out of the bag, the world around you dulls. The murmur of the room and the breath of your companions begin to fade beneath a low and steady heartbeat that isn't yours. And then a flicker. Not a voice, but an awareness. A pressure at the edge of your thoughts, like somebody leaning in over your shoulder, too close for comfort. Curiosity and a hunger. No anger. And as the room sort of seems to settle and almost that rush of blood and adrenaline fades a little bit, a simple question comes into your mind. Still no voice. Why did you come back? There's no accusation in it. Genuine interest. And the blade begins to vibrate slightly. The warmth recedes. And then the room falls silent once again. You feel almost like a warm hand on your shoulder. What would you like to do?
First, just going to move the sword around. Look around, is everybody, like, my senses back to normal?
Everything seems to sort of fade back in. Everything seems normal. And as you sort of move the sword around, it feels almost heavier. Not unwieldy heavier, but for a sword that you've used and wielded for 300 years, you know its weight. You would know an inch of metal grinding off the edge. It doesn't feel the same.
out loud, Dante will just call out,
Can you hear me?
There's no verbal response, but almost a soft squeeze of the hand on your shoulder.
I'm here to. We are trying to remove the corruption from all realms. You have knowledge and power that could help us. Will you help protect your realm by letting me wield you?
There's silence. And then almost for Dante, not for the rest of you, for Dante, there's like a low breath.
shivers down.
Almost like the last air leaving a furnace before it rolls. And then a tap. And not like a confirming, go for it tap. Almost like a father approaching the son who's just failed at a task. Everything's okay. Try your best.
You're calling out to your masters. I know they are after you. You have failed them. What do you think they would do to a Afriti who have failed in saving the Grass City?
The blade still trembling faintly. So for Dante, it doesn't feel like anger. It almost feels like remembrance. Somebody remembering something unpleasant. Something underneath that pressure. Almost maybe a weight of loss. Defeat.
What would you say for letting us finish your mission? We can cure everything. You have the power. If I am able to wield you, we can save it. And you have not failed.
The sword ceases to vibrate. The room becomes a little colder. And there's a beat of silence. The warmth begins to fade entirely and leaves the sword still heavy. Different. You don't think you have an answer yet, and they definitely didn't agree. But they listened. But for now, all pressure seems to fade, and that hand leaves your shoulder.
How does it feel?
I'm Batman.
Who? It's not what you say. Do you want to put the sword away? It's making you say weird things. But before you do, use one of your abilities. Ignite it.
Thanks. Oh, great. 6 points of damage. Thanks.
You're welcome, Liam. You're welcome.
Just slide them in that 20.
Yes.
So, how do and to be fair, isn't this one of the first times you've used your ability since?
Yes.
How's it look now that you've changed form? Before it was very much from the scars and just the burning arm that lit up. How does it manifest now?
Now his arm almost kind of still heats and warms, but now it looks far more like. Whereas it looked like burns and blisters bursting, and now it's like the heat glows from inside him, like a warm glow from a hearth. Comforting, but will burn if you get close. It goes up the sword, and now it's almost
burning bright instead of hot. And it just shines out, and
As the sword does begin to heat, it's different than you've seen before. In the past, when Dante has lit up his fire, it is literally on fire, an almost dark, huge flame that lashes out and almost tries to light things as it passes. Now the sword just radiates heat, almost as if it's been left in the forge for too long.
you want me to try using
Each will don the shield. Get their longsword out.
it. Goes to try to hit.
Okay, maybe that's that wrong.
Can I hold to cast a spell?
Yes, you can.
I mean, like, this is spoken. It's,
Yeah,
like, it's
yeah,
not
yeah,
like
yeah.
It's all in
front
it's
of
not.
you,
No, no, it's all in front of you, but I'm just thinking, just in case.
Oh, yeah,
That's fine. That's fine.
I want to hold to cast web.
Okay.
In case I think anything.
Well,
Yeah.
what's the trigger?
Actually, web's probably not the best thing, is it, against fire? Because it would.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
that
burn
was
straight
fine.
up.
What's the trigger as well, specifically?
So, I am going to. I want to have cast an ensnaring strike on my bow, or however I do it, cast an ensnaring strike. I'm holding an attack with my longbow. If I think that I see any sign of Dante actually wanting to hurt Ichi, any sign that maybe it's not Dante, it's Tenebrae, so that kind of. This isn't
Got me
just
an
play
insight as well.
fighting. Yeah.
Am I?
Shifting attention.
Magic
Like,
certainly you can't
intention.
cast
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
it, can you?
Sorry.
Magic can't pass the barrier.
Okay, I'll
So you can be
No.
inside.
Oh, that's a good point. If ensnaring strike.
Different,
Ensnaring
because
strike's
she casts
on
it
me.
on her and then
Oh,
takes
and
you
oh,
out.
nice. Okay, good.
So I'm gonna because stepping hearing this.
It doesn't matter.
Oh, okay, never mind.
So I'm trying to remember for like how
I was-
kind of rolls like lucky or no, it's 3, so it's won't hit your AC. I know
Oh, yeah.
like, it's going to be about like probably 10, 12, something like that.
As the sword kind of comes down.
So, firstly, interestingly, the swing is you see Dante swing up and wildly go. Rather than it missing, like you had to pull back on the shot because you were aiming for shield on shield like you would in a sparring match. Like, you know, you're telegraphing the blow and he's bringing his shield up to it. And as he brought his shield up, you tried to switch and bring it short of the
Tenebris
shield.
tried to.
And it was like you had to halt the attack to not follow through with a full.
But
blow.
I was shit and didn't see that.
And you didn't
Right,
notice it.
okay.
As you kind of like the sword
And it's not that he
stops.
took control or anything.
Yeah,
It's
I see
just
that
like
way you're going.
it was almost like, you know, if you were trying to lift something heavy and somebody pushed the tip of it, it was like that. It was like the sword shifted.
Did I see that?
You again no, because it's not. So this is where you two, and it's less ceremony that you didn't see it. You're looking for the wrong thing.
Wow.
You're looking for Dante as a
Intention.
Dante.
Intention.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was no
Dante, there
intention.
was no intention.
No, and
It
that's
is
what I'm looking
literally
for.
like as the sword was coming down, somebody went boop
Yeah.
and touched the end of it to make it slightly to the left.
Okay.
Dante realizes in time and
And pulled it.
halted it from continuing with the strike.
Yeah.
And Dante was heavy. Like the stopping of it was like it increased in weight and then all the pressure released.
As the blade falls shy and slightly off angle or whatever, he just kind of puts the shield down and goes like, I didn't think that you not having the sword for this long would make you this bad. Come on. Try and hit me.
It wasn't me.
What do you mean?
The sword is heavy. It's difficult to wield. And he's going to just again just lift it.
Oh.
He moved that. Like my
As in, he took control and moved it?
more like he forced my hand away from my target was. I aimed for your shield. I shouldn't have got that close to your neck.
Every time we've spoken about Tenebris, it's been very much you and him, two separate entities, but one vessel. Does it still feel like that, or does he feel?
It is not. He's not a part. Here. And Dante's going to put the sword down on the floor. Raise your sword. Go with a slashing motion in the air. Right, That is how it would normally feel.
Mm-hmm.
Do it again. That is how it
So it feels almost like he stood beside you, not at the
It was
heart
all
of
the
you.
sword. It felt like the sword, when it came to strike, the balance changed.
That was a perfect. I was gonna interrupt.
When he
It's like
dropped
the
the
balance
sword, did anything change about the sword when he dropped
Still ignited.
Yeah,
with
still
it.
ignited.
Still
Yeah.
still
I don't have to hold it.
But that thing of balance is perfect. If you imagine a sword, especially a great sword, is balanced to rotate through the point just above your hand.
Yeah.
To turn. It was almost like all the weight shifted up the sword for a second. And it was like stupidly heavy at the end.
It suddenly became hammer weight.
Yes.
Mm.
So his swing and his form wasn't correct.
Yeah.
And that form change, he has to adjust to keep the weight up.
That easy pivot became raw strength.
So we better make sure you only attack enemies then.
Yeah.
Or
He's not in the best of moods, as you can imagine.
Oh dear.
we heard everything you said, right? Everything we heard the one-sided
I'm
conversation.
assuming.
Yes, they heard everything from you. They didn't feel, or that for you guys, there was no pressure change. There's for you've been in a room when Tenebris takes over. There wasn't that feeling of ominence or anything. You heard him speaking, however.
He reacted to the words I said.
You chose some very interesting words to say. Bold, first time wielding the sword to goad him.
The guy's a prick.
I understand that. The guy is a prick. Looks at the sword. You're a prick. But this is an individual who is, yes, trapped, but still a powerful individual with powerful friends.
And this is why he is.
I'm right in saying Ifriti are charisma based.
Hard for you to know. However, what you do know through your studies is most things that have innate magic, it is force of will over learned capability.
Okay.
And the ones that tend to be better at it do tend to be more charismatic and,
So, and
more forceful in their presence.
I know this. I know him. 3 centuries. He's incredibly vain.
Yes.
He's incredibly arrogant. Right now, not only has he lost the beings he sees as inferior.
and he's looking at the sword. He's very much aware that there's a good chance.
Well, now that you have let go, all feeling of presence is gone.
Yeah,
For you, but particularly.
Yeah.
So, I'm saying, there is somebody who wants him. They want him because he failed.
Oh,
And Dante will pick up the sword again.
and before you go to, Ichi will kind of like grab your wrist. But bear in mind, as someone who has studied these, and I don't mean to talk down to you or in any way that might feel like I am, but I just want to remind you, in terms of the comparison of you are two sides of the same coin. Your fire burns through passion of love, protection, and caring. His fire burns of passion of rage. Try not to feed his fire. Yes, he has failed. He knows that. Yes, he did fail to beings he views as inferior. He knows that. The last thing he wants is for the beings who are inferior to be reminding him of that. Because if anything, what you're viewing as reminding him that he's failed, crushing his spirit, that's just giving him a reason to fight back harder. Someone said that to you, it would crush you. Someone says that to him, he smiles and goes, watch as I kill your family.
I was more going for giving him the chance to succeed.
There's only one way he will want to succeed. Even if we do manage to come to some form of temporary partnership, it is temporary. The moment he gets an opportunity to.
He will, I know.
He will cut us down first and make you watch. And I don't say that to put the fear of whatever into you. I say that to give you hopefully a drive, so that if that does happen, we're ready for it. I release your hand from like the grip I have on it to just gently holding your wrist. We'll use my thumb to just lightly stroke the back of your hand. Trust yourself. All of these moments when I watch you make mistakes, it's when you're not trusting yourself and you're trying to be something else. You asking those questions and talking to him, you weren't thinking as Dante, you were thinking as a tool to be useful to our mission. You are at your most useful when you're yourself. I'm sure we can all agree to that, bearing in mind we've spent this whole time with you there maybe 60% of the time. You are the most useful to us.
Sorry. I'm so happy you broke it. Well done.
It worked! Yeah!
Because you were trying, you were holding it.
You were holding it.
It was like quivering.
I mean, Ellie's still holding the arrow, so when he bursts out laughing, she can.
Yeah, I love it.
You are the most useful to us when you are you. Don't try to be anything extra. Don't try to be anything less. Be you. Now, if you want to pick up that sword and put it away, fine. If you want to pick up that sword, throw it against the wall, preferably on the side that still has the ring connected to it. Do. But do it as you. Not for what you think we want or for answers you think we need. Be cathartic. Scream if you need to. Just do it for you.
Appreciate you. Your friendship and our issues. I wouldn't be where I am without you. I want you to know that. Thank you.
But yeah, just have one less thorn on your side. And as that beats, you will use their palm to kind of like sprout a small little prick and just kind of pop it into your hand.
It does.
Each will take a big step back, cross their arms, give you a warming smile, and then we'll look at the sword.
Dante goes back over to the sword and picks it up.
Okay. The heat doesn't return this time. It seems quiet.
Mm-hmm.
You get the feeling that there's contemplation.
I know there are things that you want, preferably to be free. Free of this realm, free of this sword. Believe me, I want you free of me. We clear this infection. As far as I'm concerned, you can go off, go back to your domain and do whatever it is you do. I know how you think. I know how you feel. You want to do well. You want pride and strength more than I know of anything else. Without you, we would carry on. With you, we can get this sorted quicker. You could get free quicker. These are the only options. We can either put you in a lead box, in a bag of holding, and leave you there for centuries. Or you could help us. burn away what is here, cut the ties, and burn off anything that's affecting your city, affecting the Feywild, and any other beings that may be associated to the Brass City and other planes. We know there are things, people and beings out to do the same thing. We don't have to like each other to get something to work. For one time, for a short period, the last 300 years, let us get both the results we both want and the freedoms we both desire. Is this something you would feel appropriate?
You finish speaking again. Dante, you definitely get the impression they're definitely thinking about it, but they're definitely not coming back to the table to talk to you right now.
Dante will leave, or just leave it on the floor. And 10 feet, 15 feet gap. The sword's going to be right in the middle of the thing. Dante will be, like I said, 15 foot from that, between the sword and the exit door. He won't try to leave the circle and just go.
I think I am going to remain here for the time being.
How long for? We need to leave.
You haven't heard anything about the time we leave. We put it in a box, we put it in the bag of holding. Right now I feel like he's thinking.
So we can't put him in his box and in the bag of holding while he thinks and leave.
We've got till tomorrow,
I thought we were leaving today. That's why we came back to say goodbye to
So
our
what we
dinner.
do?
I mean, that is what you said originally.
Oh,
That's
sorry.
what the plan is, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Would you give me an hour?
Yes, of course.
If we just take this as long as we can.
An hour is fine. I'm going to look at Volley. Food?
Volu will put away the leaf that's been used to dab his eyes after watching what was a hauntingly beautiful interaction.
It was. I love it.
Yeah, food's good.
Okay, so what I'm going to say is, for those, so Dante, you're not going to get this here because you are sort of focused, sort of waiting.
And also, I'm stuck in a circle.
Yeah.
The rest of you can knock off a short rest. Not that you really
Wonderful.
need it.
Thank you.
But
I mean, I would like some because only one country
No,
is
no.
actually at health.
You don't get
Yeah,
it.
you don't get it. Unfortunately, there is focus and meditation in what you are doing rather than just relaxing. However, as the hour passes, nothing changes. Still that contemplating feeling. You know, however, mortal beings don't make decisions as quickly as mortal ones.
I'm going to say 2 weeks is going to be like 5 minutes for him.
You think that he might think for longer? As that sort of, you sort of check the time.
Do either of you do magic circles?
Not high enough level. Well, the paladin, no.
I think it's fifth.
Yeah.
Let me just check. Because you can definitely ask one of the priests.
I mean, if we ask them to keep this room magic circle ready, like feel free, like we can put
third level.
Oh, so
oh, lovely. We can put like the furniture back in and just be
You
like,
could
just
prepare
make
it
sure
tomorrow.
this.
The other thing to remember, so maybe something to pick up in the hour while you get food and stuff. The iron ring is so that you can't like scruff it out, right?
Yeah.
To do a normal magic circle, you need holy water or powdered silver or iron worth at least 100 gold to spread. Right? But obviously you don't need a solid magic ring. The risk with that is if the person can cast gust or change weather. Do you know what I mean? Like you can get rid of the magic circle and the second it washes away, it washes away. You can't wash the iron ring away. So you don't need an iron ring, but you would need at least 100 gold of either holy water, powdered silver, or iron, all of which can be got here for cost. Like the church, and you still have to buy it because you know they need to replenish the stocks, but it's not arduous to get at all. You just need to tell them how much you are wanting to have and how much you want to spend on it, because that's the other thing.
I mean, iron, could we not get like scrap from the Forge Ward with the?
It's about when you get. It's about the time. So yes, if you want to spend the time going and asking for a favour, because it is
in that hour.
Give me a persuasion.
Okay.
You can Volan can be helping. If you can either roll or you can.
Or does Volan want to persuade?
I'm going to say it was your idea.
My
so,
persuasion's
do you want to
got
help
0,
me?
but I can help you.
Okay. So I'll say Volan. I'm not sure what to say.
I'll put my hand on you and be like, just go with the flow. Yeah. You're pretty confident, pretty charismatic.
Before, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a total of 13.
Okay, so you do manage to get some. You get maybe 40 gold, 50 gold, I'll say.
Okay.
So I'll say 50 gold you managed to get for free.
50 gold worth of iron.
Yeah, that you got for nothing.
And how much did we need?
You need 100 per pass.
That's not too bad.
And again, like I said, it's about the money. If you've got the money,
I can
you
give
can
you
top up.
50 gold.
Yeah.
And is it iron or like iron dust?
Well, so this Aelen's got his iron shavings. The temple has like ground for easier carrying more than anything else. Because you've basically just gone into a forge and gone, can I take some of those scraps? And they've gone, yeah, scoop them up.
Yeah.
Whereas obviously they prepare it and they'll, they would give you a little bag of dust that would work.
Right, so I'll knock off 50 gold.
So I'd say that you just note that you've got enough for one cast of Magic Circle.
Speaking
of you managed to avoid that payment.
I'm stuck in a circle.
I was going to say, while you're trapped in a circle, it's all turn up and be like, yeah, so here's the debt you have to all of us at the moment.
I'll just take his stuff. He's stuck in a circle.
I mean, I've got my stuff.
Yeah, I know. But
So me and Roland were basically got about 10 gold each, like we're
I still have like 200, and that's after giving the 500 gold payment for the guy.
To be honest, I said I'm assuming we all put money in. I
You
didn't
did say
realise.
that.
Yeah.
they don't just don't have.
Yeah.
So you can just
Yeah, so
divvy
you and I
them
can
out.
split that one if we need.
You're now paying for everything from now on.
Mister, I have 1,000 gold. Yeah, you made a mistake showing me that part of your character sheet.
Like, I think it's not. It's because it's very different to Archie. Archie actively got people to pay for it.
Yeah.
But it is a Chris trope to
It
just
really
not
is.
spend
No.
on.
Just. When you say Christmas, that makes it sound like in real life.
Yeah.
In person.
And to be fair,
I'm a bit spenny person.
What I will notice is it's never that you don't offer, it's that you just pause and somebody else just goes, I'll pay for that. And then like, there's a lot of time I'm looking at it and you're just like, they've already said they'll pay for it.
Yep.
Right.
I'm not going to argue.
So.
But yes, you would be able to get your powdered silver. You would be able to prepare any other such things. And as you return and come back to the room, Dante still sat in the same position, still sat in silence.
Any news?
Each will come over. Open the bag. Do you want to put it in or do you want me to?
I think I'll give it.
You can hold on to that for a while. Go on.
Great camera shot.
Are We knew this episode was going to be cursed. Guys.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what you expected, but you tuned into 1 in 20.
Yeah. Like, Chris in general is always chaos, and then getting him in person with us is like, oh, okay, yeah, well,
Yeah, I
the
feel
hell's
like the
gonna
excitement as good as Chris has had a little bit. He's a bit giddy, you'll have to forgive him.
happen? They're in my house, they're in my house, they're in my house.
But with everything prepared, if you are ready, anything else you want to do in the city before you make the journey?
Well, actually, there is
No.
one thing I generally do want. I'd like you to buy a greatsword, please.
Okay.
Yeah, good choice, good choice.
And who'll be paying for
Him.
That's fine, I can get
Wait a minute, let's see if he pauses. Who's paying for it?
Yes, you very easily just knock off the 15 gold that
Cool.
standard greatsword would be. It's nothing special, it is just
Yeah.
Great sword.
Yeah. Doesn't feel right.
No, definitely doesn't. It's even as a greatsword, it's not balanced the same. It's not the same size. If you imagine Tenebris's greatsword is made for a 7 foot, 8 foot creature.
Make for a large creature.
Yeah, essentially. And this greatsword isn't. Like, and it is less that it'll still, you know, you can still swing it hard enough, but it's just different.
I mean, yeah, I think you said. He's 7'3".
I mean,
Yeah.
you could-
Also
And
have the
professional.
carrying capacity of someone of a large stature.
Mm-hmm.
That 1 hour of downtime, I will put an extra hour into training Rufus to stay.
Yeah, it's fine.
So we're up to 7 hours.
Brilliant.
It's not 1,000.
Now.
Now? No, I'm sorry, Mr. 992.
Yeah. You would be able to begin heading towards the south gate at the top of Catfessy, through the bastion, and exiting over the drawbridge that leads you to the south. If you remember from when you first entered the city, the actual entrance is at the top of this side of the mountain, essentially.
Yeah.
So you do now have the descent.
Yeah.
Though it is fairly easy, and you make the journey pretty easily. Are you?
Are we using the car?
That's what I was about to ask. No, going by foot.
Well, I think it'll look quite odd. We didn't see any cars before we got into the city. I think if we start taking this and then we're going through forests and we're floating on a plane.
And I'll I can't take you onto this map as much. But on, if you remember from the Verso, I don't know
If you use
pull it
roll
on
20,
your-
I'll put it on
yeah,
mine,
yeah,
and then we can.
But we didn't see any of these hovering
So the
cars.
point is,
until we
and
got
that's,
to the
so what you will remember is the Zikar is nearly, maybe not anymore, maybe getting a little less, but it's nearly entirely used by the nomadic desert tribes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And you
You've
are
seen it
entering
before.
into Indor, which is the grassland.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it is up to you. However, Eleni,
I think it would
stand-
attract
it
attention.
would get nicked.
I mean, so that, well, I know it's stand out. I mean, there's a chance of
It depends on
But just about.
it depends whether you
Just
want
being lazy, basically.
No, I'm thinking about speed. Get to this place sooner.
But we've already worked out we've got enough time.
I know.
Otherwise, we wouldn't have messed around for the last 2-3 days.
I think thinking about it, Dante, you would know if you're trying to avoid being noticed leaving.
Okay.
And actually, these are not our racing car, right? They're not
Mm.
that fast.
No, these are the leisurely.
It's not meant to be a racing car. It's just meant to be something easier for us to like.
If we wanted to have like short rests on the go
Yeah.
kind of vibe.
All I will
But-
say in terms of, you know that right now you're trying to avoid things that can be located, things
Yeah.
that can be a
Big vehicle.
house glass specific vehicle
Mm-hmm.
in the middle of the forest. You can just be like, locate house glass vehicle, locate house glass, and it will ping the nearest one.
Yeah.
So in terms of identifiable,
And they've now sliders or slides the sword.
so
in
again,
the
purely up to
direction.
you.
No,
It's
Look, I've been outvoted. I just thought it would be a. Because for my like, if we are disinfection, presumably we were wanting to get rid of.
Yeah.
So I've just gone with fastest routes.
I
You
mean,
use a car. You don't walk, do you?
as
That
a
was my mindset, but
I'm just smiling here because, like I said, Eleni wanted to leave.
As
and
a
you guys were like,
hypothetical,
no, let's stay around and do
we've
all
got
these
this
things.
2 weeks of travel, and obviously they're going to be looking at our racing vehicle.
Mhm.
Once that's done,
We're getting that. So why don't we ask them, because we're no longer using it for the Doom Hackra, then to convert one of those upgrades to a non-trackable? Why don't we make our racing vehicle untrackable?
Well, we can look at that.
Like if we on our way, if we just send ascending.
Yeah, instead of the smoke.
The jump.
Yeah.
We got the jump. We got the.
Or the armor.
Yeah.
The armor took a slot.
Armor did take a slot. We could get rid of armor because then we'll have maneuverability of
It has two.
hooks,
It has
the jump.
no. True.
No,
The
no.
armor was free. The 2 slots were
So,
grapple
jump,
hook.
Yeah. So
We could get rid of the grapple.
we
You
could
don't necessarily need the grapple hooks anymore.
Because that was specifically so that we could.
So we
use it
could-
in the-
drift. Yeah. Get rid of the hooks.
We can
Add.
whatever.
Yeah. Get them to enchant it to not be able to be detected.
Yeah.
And then
I
yes,
think-
we have a vehicle we can use.
I genuinely think we're better doing this quietly.
I definitely think this
And-
we go on for. I'm just saying for
Yeah.
future when we do want to actually leave.
So ask for the upgrade, so then when we get back.
So in,
Yeah.
in that 2 weeks where they're inspecting our vehicle, they could
Yeah.
also absentmindedly be going, okay, yeah, cool, day 1 of this enchantment, day 2 of this enchantment.
To be honest,
I will say
they
to
can do
Until
a jump
Dante
without a
plays.
slot. Can't
Yes, it costs more. So
Yeah.
with a slot, you can enchant the mod. attach it.
Install the mod.
If you want the grapple hook and the thing, you can enchant the entire car, but that becomes a much harder enchantment.
Yeah,
So
okay, perfect.
it's all up to you.
Whatever you guys.
I will say to Ichi, this is going to be a lot of walking. I've only got little legs. It'd be good if we had speed again.
I mean, in terms of your size, you could ride
you
We could
Master.
ride the master.
You can ride Rufus.
You could actually
you could ride Woofus or the mass. Or,
untrained, so animal handling to in that process.
I mean, if it's my steed,
yeah, no animal handling required for the steed. But in
So
terms of
Woofus.
actually,
Just have a stick with a sausage
so-
dangling off the.
rolling
and then the other end of the stick has 2 sausages for him.
There is entire tribes of halflings in the main core book that warriorly ride dogs.
Mastiffs are. There is a reason why.
It's a medium creature.
In my summoned steed, there's a reason why Mastiff is a selection for summoned steed because small folk can ride them.
I'll jump on the last differ.
Cool.
Okay, so give me an animal handling.
Well, on Rufus or
on the
yeah, on
steed.
my
That's
guy.
right, that's fine. Yeah, easily jump up on
Yeah.
on the steed.
Well,
Okay.
Lovely.
I'll go choose Ichi and go.
Ichi will telepathically command the Mastiff, Volo is safe, Volo is a master, whatever command Volo gives, follow. Anything that counteracts, safety of me, ignore.
You would begin to start making your way down. As you remember on your way up, the winding path that makes its way up the mountainside is well guarded and well spaced and well lit. There is no threats on your journey down. It takes about an hour before you arrive back at the checkpoint where you originally fought with the Wyverns.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Nice.
weeks, yeah.
What was that?
I'd say that Ichi, because they don't recognise Dante,
Hmm.
but Ichi and Volu and Amen, there's almost oh, hey, it's you guys. And as you sort of look, one of the guards that is stationed there still waves over, and you notice that guard that you paid and gave some money for the Wyvern to, and clearly has had his break and returned to his station. And where are you heading off? Are you out now that this festival's finished, or will you be coming back?
We'll be returning at some point. I believe we're going to be gone for about 2 weeks, just a little excursion to see some of the sites. Some of my companions here haven't actually been to the sites around Cadfesi, so I figured I'd take them over to see some of the local rivers and lakes.
I'm not excited.
It's hard making this one smile. This one, twice maybe. This one quite easy. Volu, do you want a snack before we go?
They will say, oh, fair enough. Well, I mean, you guys should be all right to handle yourselves. We have been advising people over to the west, east. We're seeing a lot more Wyverns again. Nothing this far over, but some of the rangers are warning there. Since we encountered the Wyverns a few months ago, we've been laying bait food. We've had sent out hunters to sort of place things they can easily hunt, food and stacks, food up in trees that hopefully should take them away from the civilization.
Good to know. So, like Lake Sif, around that area, a little bit more wyvern activity.
Definitely at Lake Sif. The other one, in the Lafayette, people going missing. Make sure if you're
Right.
three or four reports, merchants that were supposed to make it to Claypool.
Have any rangers gone in to investigate yet?
You see a look of like almost like we don't do that. Like there's, it's not even just like a no, nobody has. It's just like a we don't go.
No.
Like
Not protocol.
like we control the roads.
No, of course.
That's where we saw the darkness.
That's
Yeah.
where I sprouted out.
The worrying concern at the moment, and the reason we're advising people is we've not found any tracks. So a merchant, for the last one that disappeared was a merchant that left 2 weeks ago. They should have arrived in Claypool. There's been no sign of them. We sent some people down the track, and there's no signs of attacks. We haven't found the carts. We haven't found the horses.
Was there any sign of like tracks just suddenly stopping, or just no tracks at all?
It is hard to tell.
I suppose it's quite a commonly trod path.
We found some tracks, of course, but if it even rains once, that road turns into a mess of sludge and other things. But like I said, I'm sure
No, of course.
a
Thank
group
you.
like yourself should be okay. But
Thank you very much for the update. We will bear that in mind if we do head towards the forest again. Keep safe, and we'll see you in approximately a fortnight.
They nod, and again, just sort of go back to, it's like a little break for them, like a little break from the monotony of staring at this road.
Yeah.
Actually, since the festival, not many people travel. It's not
Yeah.
like that, but there was like 2 weeks of hecticness,
Yeah.
and now he's just staring at it. Foothill, which is the little town, the little outpost that sits down there.
Yeah.
And is, as you remember it, like a basic supplies shop, a small inn, and some houses. There's not a lot here. So he sort of just returns back to his monotonous routine. And you are all free. Now, there is no road that heads eastward towards Mercy. So it depends for yourselves whether you're literally, you almost like, if you imagine there's the outpost, you sort of just have to leave eastward out the town. Or you can follow the road and divert. It's up to you what your intentions are. If you leave immediately, you're almost hugging the mountainside.
I was assuming the most direct route. It's plains, not forest, so it's not necessarily my speciality. But I would still be scouting ahead.
Yeah.
And sort of, leading.
Yeah.
In that sense.
We know that it hugs the mountains and probably stay pretty close to that path. Well,
Yeah.
Okay. Can you give me a survival? Anybody assisting or doing similar or doing other things?
Ichi's going to be specifically checking the sky for, well, if we are also coming alongside the mountains, because that is where a lot of like wyvern nests probably are. Going to be checking all ridges, checking for any wyvern activity in terms of like whether or not we need to start laying low a little bit more or such.
So give me a survival, but it won't be assistant.
No, yeah. So very separate thing.
So that was an 18.
Yeah, I think I'll be checking as well.
Looking around, still looking for dangers or looking for specifically.
The surrounding area, seeing if there's any wyvern tracks, if there's anything that's unpeculiar to the plane.
Okay, so can you give me a perception? That's fine. You can survival if you're looking specifically for the tracks rather than the creatures. Yeah.
I'm actually.
Yeah, can we roll that?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes, you can.
Better.
17.
Okay.
I'm going to look for any disturbances. So it could be, for example, carcasses or anything along those lines. But also, if you're like we're walking up and they're like, oh, that's a pool of water where you expect animals to be. If there isn't any. So I'd be more kind of like checking to say, being like, oh, there's no birds flying around.
Yeah.
We'd expect that.
Okay, Scott.
I got a 10 on my survival.
I got 19.
Definitely not sitting on the computer because we'll pass it.
I know.
Are we now past that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll pass
Yeah,
over
we're at the 2 hour mark over here, so
Probably call that part one.
yeah, sure.
So you begin the journey, making your way out of the east of the town. There are a few looks, not many people head that way. There's maybe 2 minutes where you actually notice, those of you that are keeping perceptions out, you notice like village kids following.
Okay.
There's almost like some of the younger people on Foothill have noticed that's a weird looking group. They're not walking on the normal path. Let's see where they're going. But like 60 foot behind you. They're not getting close. And it's like every time you pause, there's like a giggle from a bush 60 foot that way, right? Like they're trying to see where you're going because they're interested. But also there's almost like every now and again there's the squeal of like, we can't go on. Like they're too scared to leave the village edges. So they're just sort of following you to the furthest they can. And then
Boy, take one step further. This is the furthest from the Shire I have ever been.
that's it. Literally. But you do begin to make your way. And as the sun starts to hit that midpoint in the sky, you're making your way through. And you start to leave behind the edges of the city and the town. And the path, the lack of path ahead is quite there's no tracks or signs that anybody else came this way. And as you move across the plains, it is undisturbed grassland. For Dante, first off, you do notice, like, distantly, there's sort of like small herd of deer sort of walking off that way, disappearing into a copse of trees that they clearly noticed your approach, even from this distance. And they're not rushing, they're not running. There is just that, like, they're just moving away because you're approaching. And they're just sort of moving out of the vicinity. There are birds, there are small animals. There's the signs that this is a functioning ecosystem. There's no, like, very clear issues, as it were.
Cool.
No signs of any wildlands up in there. There's no nest signs. There's no territory markings, sort of you would expect on some of the larger boulders, even at the foot of the hill. The mountain, you would expect to see some scratches and claws. And there's almost they brush up the scales, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
They leave that sort of almost like a smoothing to sort of align smooth on some rocks and such.
Yeah.
And for you guys, no signs of anything unusual. You are finding tracks, you are finding an occasional thing. Nobody seems to be following, and nothing seems to be almost like leading. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
As you begin moving towards the east, the terrain dips gently, and almost you can see the rolling hills moving along, almost following the shape of the mountainside that clearly has an effect on the terrain. The air is slightly cooler, fresher than the cities, and laced with the smell of damp moss and distant rain. And for the first hour or so, traversing quite easy, no issues. You are
One
It
minute.
can be in 1 moment, yeah, literally that.
so about when you are under the S of Catfessing, you've been going maybe 2 or 3 hours by this point. There is almost like you hear in the air it called echoes. So first off, for those of the higher survivals, the echo tells you not on us, but close enough, and definitely towards the mountainside. As you wouldn't expect echoes out over the open plains. There are a few different roars, a bit of chattering that sort of tells it's bestial and definitely sounds wyvernish. But also for those of you that sort of did quite well on the rolls about wyvern, definitely a communication, if that makes sense. And then for a brief moment, like rocks and crumbling and crashing and a screech of a roar that sounds almost like fighting in pain.
I would have ducked down, almost like knelt, Liam, in the grass, get my bow out, knock an arrow.
Anybody wanting to commit stuff?
Very
Just
nice
a
thing
question.
for our GM to randomly to ask us.
In terms of like distance? You say that we're under the S of Cadfesi and we've been travelling for about 2 hours.
Probably a bit shorter than
Okay.
two, 3.
Yeah.
You're about halfway through, because remember, you can only travel for 8
What I
hours.
was going to
a day.
say is this coming up to the end of the day? Because it was midday mainly by the time we got out.
Yeah, so we're getting to
So we're at
evening.
dusk.
It's coming to 4, 3, half 3, 4 p.m. That's
Okay.
Okay.
Because obviously, yeah, you set off you went home, you had an hour in the temple, you did some other stuff around the city.
So I'm going to say I'm not going to stealth because my cloak sort of blends me into the surroundings anyway. So I'm just going to hunker down, stay really still, and try and just sort of blend in that way.
So I have rolled stealth, but does that like remove the dodge action?
No.
Okay, so I've rolled stealth. It was only 13.
Yeah, I'm with
I'll try and stealth. I'm not great at it. I have a -1 and disadvantage. Okay. Okay, so we'll take the 13 -1. That's 12.
Minus 13.
There's a large pause. There is a few more scrabbles, almost like rocks falling from quite high. You hear that like, it's almost like a whip crack of like something falling from a great height directly onto stone that just echoes out, sort of thing. But no sign. And definitely as you're watching, nothing comes this way.
Mhm.
But the screeches and roars do get this.
Possibly territorial fight in the mountains kind of vibe. In terms of like daylight, we're at like sunset now, like we've got
Not quite sunset. You're
Okay.
maybe an hour and a half away from full
Okay.
sunset. So again, because technically you're moving around during the day and the city doesn't count, you can, if you want, travel for another 4 or 5 hours. You're allowed 8 hours of travel in a day.
I mean, I would say we could travel till full sort of twilight
And set up.
and then set up, because we don't want it to be pitch black when we're trying to find a campsite, but we could push till it's starting to go.
Whilst walking, let's just keep an eye out, see if we're a good place.
Isn't Twilight midnight.
No.
No,
Twilight's
like
just-
that awkward.
Twilight's that
Twilight's
midpoint,
that
isn't it?
weird
Yeah.
greyish-
It's the sun's gone, but there's still light in the sky. Yeah.
So let's try to find, say, even if not necessarily a cave, but like a dip in the.
And then we would be scouting out.
Somewhere
so,
shelterish.
yeah.
Okay, so can people that are shifting their survivals to look for shelter, maybe new survivals? The other two that maybe are you continuing?
Oh, what was it?
I'm gonna turn my attention. Well, I'm not even. I'm keeping my attention on the skies. I'm gonna just keep looking for anything that might
I'll keep
see
looking.
us.
But I'll hold your approval.
So mine's an 11.
Minus 16.
Okay. So you begin sort of searching around as you're moving forward. You're still keeping that progression, but almost pausing at points to say like, oh, that ridge looks like it could turn into a bit of a recess, or okay, that dip in the trees over there, maybe we could settle down there. And you're sort of pausing as you're moving forwards. About another hour in, you do think, as you're sort of looking up, there's a small, firstly, the incline of the hill. It's sort of, a lot of the mountain where you've been has been like up, straight up sort of stuff. But there is a soft incline at the side of this hill. And looking at it, it definitely isn't a used path, but it gives you the impression of that's a made path. Like it's got bits of gravel and stone that isn't from this mountain. And for Ichi, probably just Ichi, there are mines, old mines, all the way up and down here. And if you remember from when you were learning about Cadfesi, when they made the city of Cadfesi into the mining town it was, they paid tribes, villages from all up and down the mountains and into the deserts and southwards to move to Cadfesi. Do you think that's maybe an old mine track that maybe leads up to one of the old mountain villages that definitely isn't in use anymore? But that's like a worked path rather than the other thing you notice, well, you were looking for tracks. Just off the path, near like a slope of shale and brush, differently. So like the hardier plants that prevail out in this like almost tundra like area of where as it shifts into mountain. You can see a fig form, and as you sort of take a peek, just poking out of like a shrub, almost like it's been hidden, but not well enough for you to not perceive it. You see a hoofed leg. You think that there's a stag or deer stashed, the same way that an animal might hide something to come back from it. You would have to get closer and investigate a bit more to see anything further, but there is definitely an animal sleeping in that bush, or there's like a hoofed leg just sort of sticking away.
We could save on rations, just having a look over there.
I don't think it's a good idea taking meat from a creature.
But didn't they also say they left meat specifically for the wyverns so that the wyverns wouldn't attack people? This could be one of those stashes.
If it was left for them to not attack, they wouldn't have hidden it. They might have put it somewhere that's a challenge to get to, but they wouldn't have hidden it.
I'd have to figure it out.
That's the thing, if we are risking this being something that a creature has already taken and hidden, we are running the risk of it tracking the scent to us.
We've got rations.
We have
We can hunt. So let's just keep going.
I was going to surprise you later, but I do have
Okay.
Wolfus goes
Down.
for some reason. The mastiff that you're on, even though does not need to eat,
something.
starts mimicking the body language of Wolfus when sausages are. Like I see, another thing that looks like me is getting
Creating
excited for
sausage
this.
addicts. Yeah, this is right.
I'll get a little like a heel kick. Like, come on, let's go.
Yeah, overrides and stuff. Yeah, okay, let's go.
Okay, you begin moving up, and only a short 5-minute journey before you don't see immediately like buildings, but it's like the foundations.
Right.
So there's almost, as you're coming up, the first thing you encounter is like a very square, almost fortified looking foundation. That for each again, it's almost like if there was a village further up, this is the watch point.
Yeah.
If you were, a group of mountain dwelling, whatever, dwarves, Goliaths, however it might come about. You do, however, as you're getting closer, in the area around the foundations, you can see what looks to be sticks and feathers, but like as if somebody went with a bag of them. And as you get a bit closer with the road you got earlier, you think this is like, if you had to guess some sort of bird, definitely like, as you're looking at the feather, and not like giant owl, you're thinking like vulture, maybe a small rock. But also, this nest has been torn to shreds. And it's almost like as you're sort of looking around, you do catch a little bit of blood. Some of the feathers have dried and slightly old, but this was a nest that was attacked.
Markings around nest, wyvern claw size.
Yes.
Okay.
And you seem definitively to tell you why and all the other things too.
So
it's 2 deep impressions as opposed to a 4. Or, wyverns are.
wyverns saw other.
2-footed and little dinosaur arms.
Wings on
Not just
arms.
No arms will.
So they are entirely winged.
Yeah, but they've got those weird wings.
They have like they have
They've got
hooks.
The hooks on the
Yes.
end of
Yeah.
the wings,
It's not
have, but it's not. You only see 2 feet, 2 impressions, and then again, like something was torn and thrown and dragged about, and
There's yolk everywhere. We need to be careful. This is obviously birds set up nest, and then the wyverns either claims the territory or the birds moved into its territory and anything like that. But definitely at least 2, perhaps. Wyverns are also nesting in this area.
from what you do gather, definitely wasn't about food.
Yeah,
It's the way it was done. It wasn't a hunt. This was eviction. It It was almost to the level of, and you start to find smearings of like, it's not acid, but it is almost like liquid that is starting to slightly erode. You know that the bile and saliva of wyverns is that just naturally acidic.
Yeah.
So it's not that like the stone isn't, but clearly where it bit down here, it's
Residue,
smooth. It's smooth to the touch where it's been like almost
Eroded
eroded
away,
away.
Should we try and find somewhere else?
What I will say is, you think this is edges. If this was hunting, you would think, right, we're slap bang in the middle. This is like if you flew the edge of your territory, kicking anything away. That's more the vibe you are getting.
The fact that something got a nest built in this area first means that it's probably tail end, because they would be doing perimeters. They wouldn't be obviously just circling every day. They would be checking areas of section.
Are any of the buildings, have they got roofs on?
So, looking further up, there are no signs of buildings with roofs. However, you do see you see the posts and the boarding up of what would be a mine. If you know what I mean, like you're almost seeing the entrance posts, the wooden stakes they put outside the mine to hold up the frame.
Like the lintel.
Yeah,
I mean, we could.
but it is boarded.
We could maybe go in and just stay close to the entrance, but at least we wouldn't be open to anything flying above.
Each is going to wander over to like the mine entrance.
Mm-hmm.
Are there claw markings around the entrance, almost as if they're perhaps using this as another entrance to get into nests?
No. And as you take a look around and scan around, there are no other wyvern tracks here.
Okay.
It looks like flew overhead, saw
it,
dive
dive
bombed it, fucked it up, continued.
Any other kinds of marks? Any other kinds
Give me
of...
survival.
Okay.
Thank you. 20, first 20. Okay.
To the level of definitely confirmed it. Like if there were any people in this village or in this area, they are either covering their tracks well,
Yeah.
or it is a long time.
Then I think we
Use the mine.
we use it. We take enough of the mine to get in. I don't want to break the whole one down.
And
then
look
stay
at
near
and
the
as you
entrance.
look at the boards, they are old. Like you're talking, you can see the erosion of weather and the soaking of water that's definitely rained on the front of it. The boards are slightly warping in different spots where clearly like rain hit on this side and didn't hit that side, and as it's dried, it's slightly warped. But it's well done and it's strong. Nothing. If you had to guess, nothing has breached this before.
So can I prize it off so we can hammer it back in afterwards? Let's do that.
Give me, I'd say if you're working together and you're taking time about it, you would be able to. You've got a bit of time, so you're able to pry off some of the like lower down boards, so that you can almost duck in and slip under.
Yeah.
And then they are almost, if you prise off one side, it's almost shuts to again, even though it's not hammered in. As you sort of pry these off and start to move through, you immediately enter into like a sorting area. You guys have been in mines before.
Mm-hmm.
There is always like, the deeper bits where you get the ore, and then and looking, this isn't a track, there's no mine cart. They were clearly hauled from down there up here.
Yeah.
But there are still piles of unsorted ore and pickaxes, and there's definitely the vibe that they knew they weren't coming back. But also for each, you would remember they were told, like, we'll provide everything. If you move and you accept this, we'll provide everything. The homes, the equipment, you don't need anything. Just bring yourselves and your family.
Yeah.
And for those families that were out in these fringe states and were living quite dangerous lives, struggling to survive, the offer was welcome. And it very much feels like whoever was settled here left a long time ago and left without taking anything.
When we're in, each is going to use their like entangling growth ability to kind of like sheet off, like where the planks kind of like there's like that little bit. I'm just going to cover that up so that when we have like a fire or anything in here, there's no immediate like oh, there's clearly people in that one. Filling the holes. Filling the holes.
I'm sheer paranoia, but anyone will put an alarm across any further mine shaft that's going in.
Downwards,
Okay. There are two that go further in.
I can probably cast it twice.
That's fine.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Each is also happy to use their alarms to help you out.
Even though there's no attacks out.
No, it's the fact that we already know the infection has got into the mines.
That, with that being like, each is also, because this is the big sorting area, there are probably tables with unrefined ore and everything.
There's like a big stack of unrefined ore. The reason you know it's not minecarted and hauled is there's a pile of it over there, and the sacks, there's like the large back sacks. Everything's covered in dust.
So nothing newly.
No signs of tracks, and as you move through, you're almost kicking up the dust, and there's, you know.
Each is going to go to the.
Still 2 alarms.
Yeah, that's fine.
Dante might just come out.
Speaking hush tones. Each is going to go over to the table, kind of like start dusting it off, seeing what's there. Because if people did just go, you're out, leave everything behind, you're with.
So looking, people definitely put this away.
Yeah, people put things away.
So there's still like all the pickaxes are on their hooks.
Yeah.
There are sacks, like big, like I said, big cloth sacks that are like made for backpacking, that are like hung in their proper place. You think this is more like the mine probably shut for the day, and then they were approached by a person in the morning or whatever.
I'm gonna look into logs and satchels from workers within that. You know, like we're like, oh, we went down this mine today. We found this. We opened into this cave. I'm specifically looking for anything that says, like, we found into like bigger mass connecting things, seeing if there is a central cavern that connects all the way to the city that the infection could be coming through from. I'm trying to see if they, because obviously they would have been building here and then the city was built central. If there's any kind of like central ruin, like the one that we found, because we saw things connecting in and out. I just want to make sure that there's nothing here that maybe could be finding its way in or finding its way out. Like, if we can.
Maybe I should look at spot.
Like Ichi says, it's kind of like aloud, like, feel free to all look around. I'm just. It's a matter of if that ruin connects all the way under this mountain, then that infection could be anywhere.
That's my thought. It's exactly so. I'm
Happy to. I mean, you guys are looking.
And I'd say for the others, you sort of notice there's like, you know, lanterns still hanging from their space.
Yeah.
And you manage, just by looking around, I'd say you find you can either collect all the leftover oil into one lantern that would be full.
I mean, I
or
I will do that, but I won't use the lantern.
add yourself a full lantern. It's not a bullseye lantern, it's a standard lantern. Okay, so having a look as you guys are sort of searching around, what do we get on investigations?
I rolled a 5.
14. Okay.
Is it hooded?
No, standard lantern. So you're not finding much, and for each, even for Dante, there are literally things like you pick up this book and it falls apart. Like it literally, the bindings, it's bit. As much as this is inside, it is still nature. There are still bugs. There's still shit that likes to eat all the, you know, and like you're finding like this book is decomposed and nothing in here was protected.
He's just not having a good time because dust is not good for cacti. Like just kind of there being like, oh, I need to dust. I'm literally every like 5 seconds dusting themselves off, being like, it's getting in all the bristles.
For Dante, you find a few prevailing pieces. Not enough to sort of, there's no like logs of like we went down this thing or whatever, but there's almost a little bit of a record of what was being mined, and it appears this was a silver mine.
This was a silver mine. Might be good for powdered silver. Not sure what we might want to use that for, but it's obviously going to be.
I mean, first we need to transport all the raw ore around first. Like, yeah, with this,
Just
like,
get a couple of like.
We've got a natural furnace here.
I mean,
and we also have a bag of holding which can carry quite a bit of weight.
Let me just take them. Again, we don't want to be stood here now creating furnace, doing a box, doing.
I mean, so
just stick it
Let's
there.
just take it with us.
I'm thinking we don't even need that much of it. Just let's grab like, I don't know, a couple of handfuls of ore stuff. We don't need all of it.
Yeah, so note for the bag of holding that you've got like 6 clumps of silver ore.
It's easy to use the one that's already on.
Yeah.
And you would be able to begin setting up some camp. you planning to use a fire?
Yes.
Yeah, because I brought it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine. Just checking.
And I would get the sausages out and start cooking some sausages.
As we said, I just kind of like that point of kind of put all those together. And just fire. Come on.
And then he's just
Give me a
gonna.
charisma. Give me a charisma saving.
Saving throw.
Oh no.
5.
Dirty 20.
Okay. Takes you 2 or 3,
Oh, well, technically you're in range of me, so.
but by the final one, you produce flame.
Yes!
Maybe next time don't announce fire. Just in terms of like combat, saying fire at the person you're going to be attacking, maybe they might. No, but pre what you.
What you should do is, if you're going to do that, you need to, instead of cast it like this, you cast it like this.
Yeah. Change from this to this.
Hey. Universal bisexual symbol. Finger guns. There's a moment where each just. Yeah. It's one of those weird, like, it's a thing, but it's not a thing. And you're like, oh, are you? It's like, no, I'm.
Oh, I get it. It's like you're. No. No, I get it. No, that's a whole other thing, buddy. That's a whole other thing. It's like that pineapple.
I'm not even sure.
I have no idea what's going on here.
As you begin to settle down, the smell of sausages begins to waft from your campfire.
Woofus is chasing his tail and then suddenly stops, like.
There is a few moments that Woofus pricks up and you sort of check. And occasionally you hear no cries or roars, but almost like that weird
From outside. From above.
passing above.
Ooh.
Okay.
But it's like, for Ichi and for others with high nature, that's pretty big.
Mhm.
It's either very low down and sweeping low for you to hear the wing beat. Yeah. It's either very much bigger than the wyverns you fought before, or it's low and scanning.
Just in terms of logistics of we are in a cave, Ichi is going to use their burrowing to create a funnel for the smoke of the fire to leave. So save us either smoking ourselves out
Leave where?
I was about to ask that.
and then at an angle, so it's not coming out of the door that we just come from. That's why I'm burrowing rather than just opening a crack in the top. I'm burrowing up and at an angle so that rather than being directly above us, it kind of works like a chimney that way, and it's coming out.
Because you were going to smoke yourself out.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
You
Is it the-
I just had visions of us hiding and then going, where?
Yeah.
No, that's because I was there like, oh, if we just crack, like if we just bring one of the things down, I was like, oh, but then smoke's coming out the door.
And
No, I'm going to
realistically,
create a
Ichi
chimney.
could make up the finger hole as the last. It doesn't have to be bigger than,
Yeah.
because he's
Yeah.
burrowing physically. He can make that tiny crack in the last point.
Yeah, I can
It
make
doesn't
this
have
like
to
a
be a chimney.
like a fist size kind of vibe rather than a.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also because we're at night, smoke coming out is a little bit less.
Shouldn't see it.
Yeah.
But yes.
Yeah, I don't want us to die of asphyxiation in our sleep.
No,
That would have been funny. Though.
Could you imagine
I
TVK? What
the
happens?
next part, I'm like, so they all died.
Wait, what?
So
I was assuming we would put the fire or we would at least dampen it down once we eaten.
If he's right though, if it's a sealed, if there isn't a way out the bottom, you have limited air in it.
Bloody ages.
Yeah, overnight.
yeah, it's just as a safety
Yeah,
precaution,
I get
but
it.
also for realism. For realism.
And as you settle down for the evening on this new quest, that is where we will end part one of our very, very first in-person live episode. Woo! Thank you very much for joining us. As always, guys, thank you very much for playing. This first part has been a blast. I cannot wait to play the next one. If you're enjoying the adventures and want to see what happens next, hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell so you know when the videos are coming out next. And as always, roll well. Bye.
This is the end of part 1. Part 2 airs Sunday 7 PM GMT, or will be linked in the top right of your screen now. Thank you for watching, and roll well.